Start your engines.
34-year-old Jimmy Horton set an all-time ARCA Permatech Supercar Series record with 5 consecutive wins on the super speedways here in 1990. It would have been 6 with the exception of the veteran driver, this man, Sergeant Charlie Glotzbach, 52 years of age from Sellersburg, Indiana, who won last month on the high banks at Talladega. They'll be chasing the veteran drivers like this. Bob Keselowski, defending series champion for the ARCA Supercar Series, and he certainly will be a strong contender today on the front row. And the man he's chasing in the points title, 43-year-old Ashland, Wisconsin driver Bob BREVAK, who has a 120-point bulge over Keselowski. ARCA racing coming your way. Stay tuned. ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. We're in the Irish Hills of Michigan, some 70 miles southwest of Detroit, side of Michigan International Speedway, and scene of today's Michigan 200 stock car race for the Automobile Racing Club of America. A tremendous crowd on hand to watch some of the best short track drivers from the Midwest go at it on the high banks. It was scheduled to be a rainy, overcast day, but the clouds have separated. We have blue skies and a wonderful day for racing. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, along with two-time NASCAR champion Ned Jarrett. And Ned, the last time the ARCA cars came to Michigan was some 10 years ago. The names in that field read like a today's legendary story. Joe Ruttman, Gordon Johncock, Rusty Wallace, Bobby and Davey Allison, and many others. But the drivers in today's field, relative unknowns. And some of these young guys could be among our favorites.
They certainly could be, Jerry, and one in particular, Greg Trammell, who is starting in the 4th position. I mention him for 2 reasons. One is he has a very impressive record in 6 races that he has run in the ARCA Series on super speedways. He has finished in the top 5 times. I mentioned him for another reason, the car that he's driving. It's out of the Melling Bill Elliott stables, and that car has always had a lot of success here at Michigan, so look for him to do well. Now, Jerry, they're going to have to be careful on this racetrack. It's 2 miles in length. They get very fast on the straightaways, upwards of 190 miles an hour. But the wide sweeping turns can give them a false sense of security if they aren't careful.
Certainly the learning curve will get very steep in a hurry today for some of these young drivers. Now, inexperience on the track and inexperience in the pits, where our Benny Parsons is standing.
Jerry, you're exactly right. These ARCA crews are inexperienced, but they go to the Winston Cup garage area and get some experience. One fella, Bill Wilburn, who's a right rear tire changer on the Tide car, today is serving as crew chief for Jimmy Horton. You get to call the shots, huh, Bill?
Yeah, Jimmy's given me a chance to work with him over the last few ARCA races that he's run, and hopefully I can help his crew learn some things that will help them whenever Jimmy gets a ride of his own, or if he's able to take them with him.
If it hadn't been for the crash at Talladega, you'd been batting 1,000.
Well, we think we would have. Jimmy was running real good and got involved in a wreck with Tracy Leslie, but you know, that's racing. That's the way things go.
Jerry, let's see if this guy can call the good shots today.
He will certainly try to make the good shots in the call for Jimmy Horton today. This is the 12th stop on the 21-race, $1.3 million Automobile Racing Club of America's 1990 tour. They come to the high banks of Michigan International Speedway. Today's Speed World coverage of the Michigan 200 is brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is One Tough Motor Oil. By Purelator, the world's largest filter company. And by Wagner, power painting that's not just a whole lot faster, but a whole lot better. We're back with a starting lineup and the early laps here at the Michigan 200 after this word from our sponsors. Don't go away. Back in Michigan International Speedway, safety car leading the field of ARCA cars down here. It'll be green flag next time by. Let's take a look at our starting grid. On the pole, Ben Hess making only his 2nd start in ARCA for 1990. Alongside him, the defending series champion, Bob Keselowski. Row 2, Tracy Leslie, former series champion, and the youngster that Ned Jarrett was talking about, Greg Trammell. Keep your eyes on him. Back to row 3, the 5-time winner this year in the series, Jimmy Horton, and a former series champion, Scott Stovall. Row 4, 2-time winner, Bobby Boucher, young son of the famed Jack Boucher, who was an ARCA standout for many years, and then the current point leader, Bob BREVAK. Back to row 5, Carl Miscotten, the youngest member of the today's field at 19 years of age, and a former short track campaigner from the South, Cecil Eunice. Row 6, Bill Venturini, former series champion, always runs well up here, and the veteran from Texas, H.B. Bailey. As you look at the rest of our starting lineup, Ned Jarrett, this is a 200-mile race, 100 laps. What will that translate as far as pit stops are concerned?
Jerry, they'll need at least 2 pit stops for fuel. Sometimes they can go close to 100 miles on a tank of fuel, but at the speeds they run here at MIS, I think they'll need to stop at least twice.
You said the last time they were here was 10 years ago. In fact, September of 1980. Billy Harvey went on to win that race, having started back in the 25th spot after Harry Gant qualified that car, and the car had to be started back in the field. Set for the green flag now. Pace car up in turns 3 and 4. Will make the hard left-hand turn. Ben Hess, a youngster 25 years of age from Wooster, Ohio. Won back-to-back ARCA events last year at Daytona and Atlanta, and ran out of some money. Had to stop his racing in mid-season. Now back in ARCA, and a tremendous crowd coming to their feet here as we're set for the green flag at Michigan International Speedway.
KESELOWSKI got a good jump on the start, Jerry.
And he may have gotten too good a jump, as some of the officials now looking at waving some consultation flags. A very, very wide racetrack. You see a lot of room here. KESELOWSKI in the car number 29, a Chevrolet Beretta, some 7 or 8 car lengths over the second-place car.
And indeed, the black flag is out. Let's see if it's for him. No, not for him. It's for car number 26, I believe.
That is Bob Strait, the Mokina, Illinois driver, who is driving a car owned by Kenny Schrader. Strait, limited super speedway experience, trying to get a jump.
And we have a yellow flag. Jerry, apparently some debris on the track, a drive shaft from someone's car has dropped on the track.
And excellent camera work. Mike Wells, our director, and the cameraman around there picking up the drive shaft there in the middle of the backstretch. On lap 2, the first caution flag of the day. As a current series champion, KESELOWSKI pulled away, and Ned, just as you predicted, the youngster Trammell, already impressive in the first couple laps, running in second spot.
He has a good car, and he's a good, heady driver. He's young, Jerry, only 24 years old, but he has learned a lot and learned it quickly. Of course, he works in the engine room for the Bill Elliott Melling Coors team, so he knows a little about racing.
Caution flag flies for the first time today at Michigan International Speedway. We'll take a look at the top 5 in the point standings here in ARCA competition. Lots of laps to come your way. Stay with us.
What?
Back at Michigan International Speedway, 4 laps of the 100 completed. The first caution flag of the day brought out by debris in the backstretch. How they're running here: KESELOWSKI, our leader, Greg Trammell in second spot, Ben Hess, Scott Stovall, and Jimmy Horton, the top 5. 6 through 10, Leslie BREVAK, the youngster Boucher, Bill Venturini, and Carl Miscotten, the third. And Ned, we had some trouble for this caution flag, so it looks like a drive shaft came out of one of the cars.
Yeah, and it came out of Glenn Brewer's car. Glenn is the brother of Tim Brewer, who's the crew chief on the Jeff Bodine Budweiser Ford that runs in Western Cup racing. We're ready to go racing again here now.
Set for green flag racing. A lot of quick cars making moves early back in the field. Bob Shack, the winningest active driver in ARCA, making a move up through the field, but they're chasing the current defending champion, Bob KESELOWSKI. There's Tracy Leslie in the car number 72, making a move in his Oldsmobile.
That Bob Shack car you mentioned was the red car down on the inside, and Jerry, he had the second fastest qualifying time, but he had to do it on the second day, and so we expect him to come up through the field pretty quickly.
Speeds of 180, now to 190 miles an hour down the back straightaway, 2,300 feet. Battle now tightening up in the backstretch. Jimmy Horton there. He is in the blue, white, and yellow numeral Pontiac, car number 80. Trying to make a move inside. That is the battle for the third spot. Horton trying to move inside. Up Ben Hess to car number 40. They're door to door in the straightaway. KESELOWSKI, your leader. Then comes Trammell in the 4. The battle for third, and Horton will take third spot away.
Grafton plays a big part here at MIS, Jerry, and if you get a good run down the straightaway and the car sticks when you go into the turns, as we're seeing a couple of those do right there, then you can make up a lot of time on the cars in front of him.
Ben Hess's car really sliding back through the field. He has lost something. He's certainly having his troubles. There's the car number 40, our pole sitter. Ben Hess qualified at almost 170 miles an hour. A new track record for ARCA, but he is slow now in turns 3 and 4 and probably will make an entry on the pit road.
He has sponsorship on the car from AC Belco. Hank Jones, the owner of Sports Image, is the owner of the car, but having troubles early here. They expected to have a good day. They thought they had an excellent shot at winning this time.
That is Bob BREVAK, car number 34, the Race Blaze Buick. He's our point leader. And here's Bobby Boucher in the pits, an unscheduled pit stop early on.
Yes, it looks like the right tire, one of the right tires has gone flat, Jerry. They're changing those. That certainly is an unscheduled stop for him. He's going to have to hurry to get back out and stay in the lead lap.
Bobby Boucher already has won twice this year on the ARCA Tour, 2 short track wins. Crew chief Gary Boucher, his brother, and of course the car owned by Jack Boucher. He is down and away, and he will try not to lose a lap.
But I think he will lose a lap as he goes out of the pits. Bob KESELOWSKI, who's leading the race, is coming down the front straightaway, and he has his speed up, and Bowser doesn't, so he will go by him. You can see as he goes into the turn.
Tough break for Bobby Boucher. A couple of cars making unscheduled stops. Here's Bob Shack on pit road. The car number 40 of Ben Hess, also in the pits, our pole sitter, and Charlie Glotzback. Let's check in the Ben Hess pits with Benny Parsons.
Doug Richard and the crew have started to work on the car. They feel like he has a tire that's equalized. That's really a gamble changing the right side because it may be a left. Meanwhile, they're trying not to lose a lap. They change the right sides. He's away. We'll have to find out if they got the right one.
And we'll see if he can stay in the lead lap, Benny. Those other cars that we mentioned coming in, Jerry, into the pits were being brought in for a black flag for jumping the restart. Jumping the flag, I should say, on the restart.
That was Bob Shack and Charlie Glotzback, 2 of the veteran drivers expected to really contend for the win today. There's the man they're chasing, the Extend-A-View Chevrolet Beretta. It's not a Monte Carlo, the old version, not a Lumina, but a Beretta. The defending series champion, Bob KESELOWSKI. Rochester Hills, Michigan, not far away.
Now, Ben Hess did get back out in front of the leader, so he stayed in the lead lap. If he can stay out there now before they catch up to him. KESELOWSKI is not drafting anyone. Here's a battle coming up for second place. Jimmy Horton moves up on Greg Trammell.
Greg Trammell in the car number 18. That's the red Ford, that's the Harry Melling on Mountain Mortgage Ford. Car number 18. Ford Thunderbird, and many of the fans who watch the Winston Cup racing around the country will remember that's the same car that Bill Elliott used to qualify on the pole at Talladega back in May of this year, and of course you saw that race on ESPN. Let's check in the pits in the Ben Hess pit to see exactly what the problem may have been. Benny?
Doug, did you fix the problem?
Well, we're not sure, Benny. We thought we might have had a tire going down, so we come in and got right side, so I haven't had a chance to get a watch back on him to see if he's picked it back up or not.
We'll keep checking with you.
All right, thanks, Benny.
Well, one thing that is going on out there, Benny, we said that he stayed in the lead lap, but Bob KESELOWSKI is definitely gaining on Ben Hess right now. Another 4 or 5 laps at the rate they've been going for the last 2 laps, and he'll be up to put a lap on the pole sitter.
We mentioned Jimmy Horton, who's running in 3rd spot, having won 5 consecutive super speedway races this year. He blew the only engine they had yesterday in the last practice section in that car number 80. He had to go to the Winston Cup garage area and borrow an engine. And who did he borrow one from? Well, who has he helped out this year quite a bit? He borrowed it from the Tide team. Darrell Walker Teffords, Rick Wetzel and the guys. Randy Dorton loaned him a motor, and it's apparently doing pretty well because he's putting the pressure now on Trammell for 2nd spot.
Bob Strait was just back in the pits again for sort of a stop-and-go situation to put a little bit of gas in him. That's the Kenny Schrader car, but he is going to go a lap down as he comes out of the pits.
Those 2 cars there battling back for 4th. Tracy Leslie making a move in the Detroit Gasket Oldsmobile beneath Bob BREVAK. Leslie, the 1988 ARCA Series national champion from Mount Clemens, Michigan.
Boy, he just drove around him and went on, Jerry. He didn't even wave at him when he went by. BREVAK's car working well down on the inside, at least on that move. Now, here is Ben Hess about to get a lap by the leader, Bob KESELOWSKI.
Brand new race car for Ben Hess. They built it. He and Doug Reichert and some of the guys built it from the ground up. Took it to Talladega, set on the outside front row at Talladega, ended up finishing third, brought it up here and set on the pole. But the early laps have not gone well for the youngster from Ohio. He is trying to hang on and keep from being passed by Bob Keselowski. Now, that's the way they started, with Hess on the pole and Keselowski on the outside, but now Hess has made the unscheduled stop, and Keselowski looks like he will have a shot to draft by down the back stretch.
Well, Ben Hess gave him running room as they came off of turn 2, and then had to back off as they ran up on a slower car going into turn 3, and that gave Keselowski all the room he needed to move ahead. Here's that battle for second place. Greg Trammell still holding off the car number 80 of Jimmy Horton.
Greg Trammell, at 24 years of age, of course, works in the engine room down at the Melling shop for Bill Elliott, is one of the dyno testers, also one of the Speedway testers. There's Trammell in second spot, Jimmy Horton in third. Greg Trammell with top five finishes in 6 career Permatech Series starts at Pocono and Atlanta.
That's a pretty good average for a young man.
Trammell now trying to be very careful as he tiptoes, but now making a move on the outside. Trammell may have made a mistake and got the car bound down on the bottom of the racetrack, and Horton will go by him, and also Tracy Leslie then.
Yeah, I think he just had to get out of the accelerator, Jerry, and that cost him 2 positions, as a matter of fact. But he figures he's got plenty of time. He said, don't get too excited now. Just stay in here and run my groove the way that I need to run it. Now you see him trying to move back up on Leslie down on the inside. Couldn't quite make that move as Horton tries to go by Ben Hess. It looks like they almost touched each other.
Car number 80 is a Pontiac. That's Jimmy Horton. Of course, the lap car, the Chevrolet of Ben Hess. Then comes the car number 18, making a good strong move down the backstretch. The Ford of Trammell.
Boy, he did a great job, Jerry, in picking up the draft coming off of turn 2 of those 2 cars in front of him, and just drove by both of them going down the back straightaway. One thing about this Michigan International Speedway, you saw it there, 3 wide. Sometimes we see them 3, 4, and even 5 wide, especially on restarts. Lots of racing with it.
This track's from 73 feet wide in the turns, 45 feet wide in the straightaways. Lots of racing room here. They're mixing it up back in the pack there. Of course, trying to get by. That's Ben Hess, the car number 40, but trying to make a move by him is Tracy Leslie in his Oldsmobile, car number 72. We are early on here in the Michigan 200 ARCA event, 100 lapper. We'll show you the top 5. Lots of racing action to come your way. Keselowski leading it. Horton is in the chase.
Now
a giant crowd on hand back at Michigan International Speedway for today's ARCA Michigan 200. And these folks remember what kind of show the ARCA stars put on when they come to the high banks of Michigan. And there's a man who was in this race 10 years ago. Last time ARCA raced at Michigan Speedway in September of 1980. Bob Keselowski, now the defending champion of the ARCA Series. He is pulled away to some 15 car lengths over Jimmy Horton. There is Horton now in the middle of your screen coming down the backstretch. And the 3rd and 4th place cars, Greg Trammell, the car number 18, and Tracy Leslie in the Oldsmobile number 72.
And of course, running in the 5th position is the car 0 of Scott Stovall as we watch that battle for the 3rd position. Greg Trammell has been in the battle since the green flag dropped.
Getting a lot of valuable experience, and I'm sure he's probably getting some advice via the headset radios. Of course, this racetrack just outside of Jackson, Michigan, is the home of Harry Melling, who owns that race car, and of course owns the team that Bill Elliott drives for on the Winston Cup Tour.
Jerry, as we watch that battle, we'll tell the fans that running in 6th place is Bill Venturini in car number 35. 7th is Bob BREVAK, the point leader. And in the 8th position, H.V. Bailey having a good run here today. Running 9th is Carl Miscotton. And in 10th place is the car number 31 of Cecil Eunice. Ray Young being shown in 11th place.
That's the battle for 3rd spot as Leslie now will try to sneak to the inside of Trammell. Car number 18 is Trammell in the Ford Thunderbird, the Oldsmobile and Detroit gasket sponsored car of Tracy Leslie. Leslie here in Michigan trying to do double duty to run both in the ARCA event as well as the Winston Cup race. Of course, he's a former series champion here, 1988 series champion, and moved on in the Winston Cup, driving some in a car that he had purchased from A.J. Ford.
And that's what he really wants to do, Jerry, is move into Western Cup racing full time. And I think the man has a bright future there. He's very articulate, good-looking young fella, and has a lot of talent as a race driver. So it would, some car owner looking for a driver would do well to consider Tracy Leslie.
And being from Mount Clemens, Michigan, this would be his home racetrack, and he would like nothing better than to win the ARCA race today in front of the hometown folks. Battling back in the pack, car number 3, that is Carlton Scott in the third. 19-year-old driver, Cecil Eunice in the car number 31. That's the orange machine to the right of the screen. Then comes the car number 21. That is Bobby Boucher. And the car number 36, the red car, the veteran Texas driver, H.B. Bailey.
They're battling for the 9th, 10th, and 11th positions. HB had moved up to 8th a little bit earlier, but he's moved back just a little bit. Bowser, of course, a lap down as a result of that unscheduled pit stop.
Back up front, working around some heavy traffic is Bob Keselowski. Keselowski is winless thus far in 1990. Of course, he is one of the all-time leaders in earnings. Last year set a single-season earning record at $97,000, winning the series championship a year ago. Leads the series currently with 3 poles and had 4 wins last year, but they've had their troubles this year, have not been able to finish consistently on the speedways. They've run well. In fact, they had a chance of winning at Pocono back in June.
Here's your battle for 3rd and 4th. Greg Trammell in the car number 18, and Tracy Leslie, car number 72, still battling. Tracy can get up there close to him. Jerry has even been beside him a time or two, but he just is not able to get around.
I'm impressed the way young Trammell is working traffic, Natty. With no more experience than he has on the speedways, and particularly he's never been on the track this fast. He has been to Atlanta, which is essentially the same speed or similar speeds we have here, but using lap traffic very well.
Yes, he does a good job. He's a very heady driver, Jerry. He looks ahead and thinks about what he's going to do, and doesn't take a lot of unnecessary chances. But Tracy Leslie, who is a veteran, is giving him all he wants, the Detroit gasket. Not our Tracy Leslie.
Leslie, using his experience, might be able to have an impact on how Trammell's car will handle if he can just get right up against him there and take a little air away.
Most of the time, at the speeds they run here, where they're getting close to 190 miles an hour on the straightaway, if you get very close to another car going into the turn, you're going to take the air off of that spoiler and make him very loose getting into the turn. So Tracy Leslie knows that very well. He wouldn't want to get up there and cause him to spin out or anything, but he wouldn't mind getting the car a little bit loose and maybe allow him to make a move and going around.
They move by the car number 77 of Don LeDuc, who's having his best year ever in ARCA racing, currently 6th in the points. And now Leslie will try to make a move on the inside. They're door to door.
He picked up the draft coming off of turn 4, but he's running in on another car. He might have to back off. Yes, he does. And Trammell uses that car. He gets a little bit wiggly going into the turn, but he uses that car to his advantage and keeps position.
They move around the car number 24 of Dave Jensen, and Trammell working that traffic. 25 laps are completed. 100 will comprise the Michigan 200. 2-mile racetrack. It's a D-shaped track. The turns are banked 18 degrees. They are in turn 3 right now, which is the 18 degrees. They will come out of turn 4. The front straightaway, some 2,200 feet, is banked at 12 degrees. The back stretch, 2,300 feet long, is banked essentially 5 degrees, almost flat.
Jerry, it looks like Trammell's car is beginning to get a little bit loose coming off of the turns, and there's trouble here coming off of turn 4.
One car having trouble, showing a lot of smoke. Looks like Bob Dotter, the 3-time series champion, in the car number 8. And car number 01, that is the Sonny Gupta from Raleigh, North Carolina. His car coming residue in the pit road. Little flame coming from beneath the Krupa's boat marked Chevrolet. That is the car driven by Bob Dotter. And the 01 of Sonny Gupta, you see his car apparently spinning. Did not appear to contact anything. Let's take a look again, Ned.
Okay, we see the tail end of it as Gupta's car is spinning down on the entrance of pit road. And don't know what caused him to get loose. Now, it could be that Dotter, don't know if he blew an engine or what might have happened to his car. There was a lot of smoke coming from his car. So he might have blown an engine and could have gotten in the oil.
Well, we'll find out what happened here to bring out this caution flag, the second one of the day, as we are early on here in the Michigan 200 in ARCA Racing. Stay with us. Lots of laps to come your way. Don't go away. Track facts are brought to you by Quaker State. The big Q is One Tough Motor Oil.
When these ARCA cars stop to make a pit stop for tires, this is the lug socket they'll use. It goes on the nut something like that. See how loose it fits? But sometimes it can round a nut off. See how the corners are starting to round on this nut? That's what happened to Alan Kawicki and Davey Allison. Kawicki at Pocono, Davey Allison in Talladega. Davey had to run 130 laps with a right rear tire because the lug nose rounded off. What they got to do? Go to the toolbox, get a 6-point socket and a ratchet. Slide it on like that and take the lug nut off by hand.
Well, it certainly can make a difference in a day if you can get a lug nut hung on a car, and it can be a miserable afternoon for you here. Field getting ready for green flag racing. And up front, car number 3, Carl Miscott in the third. Ed, I don't believe he pitted.
No, he did not stop, and neither did the car number 87 of Joe Niemarowski. I hope I pronounced that close to right. Neither of those cars made a pit stop. There are 20 cars on the lead lap. Everyone else did stop as we get ready to go green flag racing.
And Charlie Glotzback back on the lead lap after being black flagged for jumping the flag early on. He has made his way back onto the lead lap. And Carl Miscott in the third. Car number 3 leads the way. The youngster, 19 years of age, from Fort Wayne, Indiana, out of the SCCA ranks. Here's the guy who's going to be chasing him in a hurry, Bob Keselowski, our early leader, and he is reeling him in there in turn 2.
Boy, he is. He is getting through the corners great here, and he did not change tires either.
He came in, and Horton now, Jimmy Horton, who did change tires, trying to make a move. There's number Husky, the car number 87, and Bob Shack. They battle it up back in the field. Back up front, Keselowski literally inhales Miscotton in turn 3, and there is Horton, car number 80, who changed right side tires.
Horton might not be able to get around quite as quick as the 3 car as did the car number 29, Keselowski.
Let's find out why Carl Miscotton elected not to pit. Benny Parsons.
Jerry, I'm down with Larry Harp, the crew chief. Why didn't you pit, Carl?
I wanted, we'll probably have another yellow before the halfway where we're going to gas, and if we pit on the green, we won't lose a lap, and we'll catch back up the next yellow. See, this is, I know, big deal. He's a rookie, and the car's a little faster than he is. And we was hoping maybe he could lead a lap, but he didn't quite make it, did he?
Well, he did on the caution flag.
That's right. I never thought about that.
He wanted to lead the race, guys.
All right, that's a good way to do it. Not bad thinking, really. It's pretty good strategy.
Plus, at 19 years of age, if you're up front, you get to learn a lot from some of the drivers, the veterans you're going to race with up there. And some of the veterans now going fine. At the car number 75, it's moved around him is Bob Shack. There is Niemarowski and Cecil Eunice in the car number 31.
And besides that, he wouldn't have got this much TV time if he made a pit stop, would he?
No, indeed he wouldn't have, Ned. That's right.
So that was good thinking on their part. And it is good experience for him to run up there in that traffic, the faster traffic. Is that Greg Trammell coming in down on the inside?
Greg Trammell in the car number 18. That's the Ford Thunderbird that was running in the top 3 in the early laps. After making the pit stop, he's trying to get his car back toward the front, hustling in on the bottom of the racetrack. He moves inside of the car number 3, the Buick of Miscotton.
Jerry, I mentioned just as the caution came out that it looked like Greg's car was beginning to get a little bit loose. He spent a little extra time in the pits on that pit stop, and they made some adjustments on it. Right now, it looks good. We'll see after he runs 10 or 12 laps and gets those tires heated up.
And Cecil Eunice's car down on the inside, the car number 31. There's Scott Stovall in the car number 0, 1982 Series champion. And the 88 champion, Tracy Leslie, in the car number 72. They are back there trying to make their way on the inside of Carl Miscotton. Miscotton's got a pretty good race car, as you heard his crew chief say, but apparently doesn't quite have the experience to keep the car on the bottom. Of course, he has those hot tires on as well, I guess.
Well, certainly new tires here will make a difference. However, Bob KESELOWSKI did not change tires, and he's doing okay with them, but new tires at this racetrack, and most racetracks really make a big difference.
We are early on in Michigan, and a lot of drivers have already had their trouble. Glenn Brewer, the leading contender in the STP Prestone Rookie Series, had trouble at wheel, lost the drive shaft. Wayne Dellinger's car stalled. He's gone back to the garage area. Jerry Hill, Bob Dodd, a three-time champion, erupting an engine, and Jerry Churchill had trouble yesterday with his Chrysler. He did not get it. He has gone to the garage area. We might also mention that Donnie Moran, who qualified real well, did not start. Neither did Lee Raymond and Billy Thomas, who had trouble with an accident on Thursday.
Here's Charlie Glotzback in car number 44, trying to make his way back up through the field. The black car with the red stripe across the top of the hood at the top of the car. Colorful car for a colorful driver.
Charging Charlie Glotzback, and he won on this racetrack back in 1970 in a Winston Cup race, driving a Ray Nichols Dodge. Of course, also won just a couple of weeks ago in Talladega in a 500-kilometer event at ARCA. Now, he was not driving this car at Talladega. He was driving a car prepared by Cooper Gordon. It was out of the Richard Childress stable. That was a Chevrolet Lumina. This is a